Hello and welcome to the Seahawkers podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Schultz, and we are live and uncatfished, Adam, as our Seahawks move to 8-5 in the division over a win 30-18 over the stupid Arizona Cardinals.
Absolutely, man. In first half of football, that was flawless, man. The best half of football we've seen from this team all year, and allowed them to get out and have a what, Brandon? A fast start? Is that what that was?
I think that was a fast start, but I don't know if it was necessarily due to the offense. A lot of it was because of the defense. And when you intercept Kyler Murray on back-to-back passes early on in the game, giving your offense a short field, then yeah, it leads us to a quick start. I think that's what we want.
Yes, I will take games like this all the time. This was fantastic. It did get a little weird there in the fourth quarter for half a second there, but we'll get to that later because, man alive, like I am so thrilled to see the defense continue to play well. Not quite as dominant as maybe the last couple of weeks, but good. You're facing a divisional opponent for the second time. They're going to have some wrinkles and some extra things to kind of implement against you, but I thought they performed well. Ernest Jones with the big pick. Coby Bryant with the big pick, made me eat even more words, more crow, more Cardinal. I'll take it. I'll do it all day. I love it. And then I really thought that offensively, we can talk about Grubb because, I've banged on him 1,000 times throughout the, whole process here since the day he was hired. Today was a good day for Grubb. I'm looking forward to talking more about that, but big day from Charbonnet. Another guy's making me eat all the crow, cardinal, whatever. I'll eat it, and it's going to be tasty. But I'm really thrilled with the way Geno Smith played today. Yeah. Like, I think that's something that probably won't be talked about a ton because it was uneventful to a degree all the way around. But, man, he hung in the pocket, made some really tough throws when the pocket was dirty, never made the big mistake. And I think the thing that impressed me the most was he was getting the ball, going one, nope, two, nope, check it down. Like the decision-making was so much quicker and cleaner.
Yes. And a big part of that was making sure he didn't turn the ball over. He finishes the day 24 of 30, 233 yards. He has a touchdown. That one went to Jackson Smith-Njigba, his first road touchdown of the year. We've got Carly Perkins coming in with a $10 super chat saying this game was so important, and we finally played a complete half of football. If we look this good next week against the Packers, if we look this good next week, the Packers better watch out. We can run the ball. Adam, we saw you mentioned Charbonnet. He finishes the day 22 carries, 134 yards. You had Kenny McIntosh out there. We finally got to see some Kenny Mac, and unfortunately, it came at the expense of K9 not being out there. But 7 carries, 38 yards. Both those guys finish with above 5 yards per carry. Adam, I was told that this offensive line, that we didn't run the ball because this offensive line was bad. Are you going to tell me that Sataoa Laumea is a future All-Pro and has made all the difference on this offensive line?
Well, I'm not going to tell you that, he's going to be an All-Pro or anything like that. But I do think that the addition of Laumea, along with having Lucas back, has been a big difference maker for this offense. And I talked about it. You talked about it. Clinton talked about it in the last game against the Jets when we're watching the offense and being like, ooh, I can kind of see them getting to a sustainable type of offense, one that makes a little more sense. And one of the things I was impressed with Grubb today is that he got to that pulling Laumea and or Lucas run play to the left side many times throughout the game, and he did it through different looks. So running the same concept, but giving a little bit of a different window dressing each and every time, that's the way he wants to go about it. I'm fine with it because you're going with something that works. And it was really something that they decided to do. And that was the thing that we had been talking about all year, Brandon, is like, this isn't that we can't do it. It's that they wouldn't do it. And now they are. I think Grubb is starting to really figure it out and piece it together. It's one performance. It's one. Now he's got to stack it, but kudos to Ryan Grubb today.
And we've got our own Ryan in the chat. We've got Ryan 911 with a $9.99 super chat saying huge day for Sharvs. Best game from Grubb. The season is a ton of fun. And I think it was one of the better games from Coach Grubb because, well, for one, part of the starting fast piece, I think, is having a solid opening drive. And they did only settle for a field goal, but the series and the way those plays flowed together, I think, on that first drive, it was like, oh, okay, he came into this game with a plan. They're running the ball, they're executing. And I think that's the thing that impressed me about Grubb, because it is that first kind of series where you can see things kind of start to come together, especially if things are, playing off of one another.
Oh, 100%. And look, into Grubb's defense slightly, I do think that the Maya Lucas thing is a big deal. It's really helping him get to some things that are working very well. They did kind of ditch the JSN tunnel screen, which everybody kind of figured out. I think that was good. And, did a good job of giving Geno options to get to quickly if the deeper shots weren't there. That didn't feel like that was in the offense for the last few weeks. It felt like it was a lot of deep downfield shots. The back was being kept in to block, and now getting him out, being able to leak him out now with a little more solid play from Lamea and Lucas and Oluwatimi too. I mean, it's a little like replacing the linebackers. I think getting those three dudes in the lineup have been a big deal.
Truth Hurts coming into chat saying, what did I all tell you about Charbonnet, people? I'm just glad you got to see what he can do. And yeah, we got to see what he could do today. It's a huge amount of carries. They blocked well for him. He was able to get a touchdown where it just kept, he kept churning. The team was with him. And it was fun to see him get that score, especially. So yeah, I think that if they can have this complementary piece of having good, solid blocking where Charbonnet can get in there and run in his type of style to where K9 can be a change-up type player. I think these two guys could play off well with one another. It's just they have to have this this kind of cohesive blocking up front and not, kind of a mismatch of blocking of, when it's Charbonnet in there, we're going to block well. And when it's K9 out there, that it's just not going to work.
Right. Okay. So let's not get this twisted, right? Charbonnet is not going to be the feature back with K9 being the guy who mixes it up in a change of pace. No. K9 is far superior. It's not even close. And I would just love to see Kenneth Walker get a game when things are blocked up the way that they were for Charbonnet in this game. As big as Charbonnet, as good of a game as Charbonnet had, or as Iron Eagle says it, Charbonnet. Like he's very emphatic about the three syllables there. K9 would have had a bigger day. But either way, don't take credit away. I think they
would have maybe had even-ish days, because you look at Charbonnet's game in the pass game too, the way they used him checking down. I don't know if K9 would have necessarily been out there for those. So 59 yards there and the 134 on the ground. We're not going to see a better Zach Charbonnet game.
No, that feels like the peak. And look, in a massive NFC West game, having that performance come from him today was huge in maintaining your lead in the NFC West, with the Rams being gifted a win on their final drive. We can get into that here in a moment because football has to work in LA. It was awesome for them to get the win, stay on top of the NFC West, knock the Cardinals back to a point now to where it's going to be real tough for them.
Long live the king coming in with a $2 super chat saying, I now really feel 11 wins is realistic. Hey, you only got to get 3 more in these last 4 games. It's going to be tough because you do have 2 NFC North opponents that are really, really good in the Vikings and the Packers. But shoot, if you win one of those games against, and they have an opportunity for the clean sweep, Adam. If you get these games down the stretch, if they get 11 wins, that solidifies them in the playoffs for one, and they would play the Rams in their final game, and then the 2 teams I mentioned. And if you're getting 2 wins over those 3 teams, this could be a team that gets a win in the playoffs.
Yeah. And look, I said every time that Charbonnet gets a handoff, it's a waste of a down. And he came around and looked great. I was dogging on JSN earlier in this year. All of a sudden, he's become the most productive of the 3 receivers. He's not the number one. That's still DK. But he's being awesome and kind of stepping up and replacing Tyler in terms of targets. So if I also say, I think they're going to be one and done in the playoffs and they're not a serious playoff team, then we're going to win the Super Bowl. So I'm going to keep doubling down and getting this stuff super duper wrong, and delightfully so.
Yeah, you just want this team to prove you wrong. Well, we started this out by saying, even before this year started, that Geno Smith couldn't win a playoff game because he had proven us wrong so much along the way that, yeah, he needs more things to be proving us wrong on. And yeah, that's just where we're going to be. JSN on the day, maybe not WR1 in your eyes, but he is WR1 in terms of the amount of yardage and receptions because he got 5 for 82 and a touchdown.
Hey, look, I'm not talking about the yardage. I'm talking about the coverage. Like they're rolling so much of the coverage to DK that it's leaving JSN with a lot of one-on-ones, and it's making his life a little bit easier. And then even though it's easier, it doesn't mean it's still not hard. And he's still got to perform, like that catch on third down when Geno made that beautiful throw from an incredibly dirty pocket to just get it to him and snatches it off the tip tops of the blades of grass there and, gets the drive going down the field here. So, yeah, JSN was fantastic.
Yeah, incredible catch. Simon Curtis in chat calling it out as well. Got Nate saying Adam is the new DHS.
DCH, yeah.
Oh, DCH, yeah. I thought maybe you were.
Never replace Doug.
I thought maybe you had been nominated for Department of Homeland Security. I hadn't been following the news very much.
Oh, well, that would be fun. Yeah, I'd love that power. It wouldn't go to my head at all.
Nate Chute saying that jumping catch by Charbonnet was clutch in the fourth quarter. Oh my gosh, that play there, a sneaky 3-and-3 out pick there as Charbonnet goes up, and because Geno launched that a little high, I was worried that it was a little bit too high. Charbonnet comes down with it, and then on the third down, one play later, DK Metcalf picks it up, and they continue that drive, able to drive down, kick the field goal, and put it away. The special teams, Seahawks definitely had the edge in this game. I know we had some questions with Michael Dixon and his back coming into this game, but he was able to punt effectively, had a really nice punt down inside the 5 that kicked out of bounds. And then it was the Cardinals instead with their punter landing on his ankle wrong and twisting it. And then we got to see Chad Ryland come out and punt, but then he forgot how to kick field goals.
That's true. That's true. That miss was huge going down the stretch because it was getting a little pucker tight there in the fourth quarter. Maybe time to get into that a little bit. I really felt like when they ended up with the ball after the bad Chad punt there that set him up at basically the 50, just penalties, and you end up getting no points there. That was a point in the game where I was like, oh no, like they could really muff this thing away, but they didn't. They pulled it together and managed to do everything they needed to do down the stretch to close it out. And I'm elated, man. I'm elated.
Well, we talked a little bit about our Seahawks. Aaron F. in chat saying, why did the stupid Rams have to win too? Yes, Adam, why did the stupid Rams have to win? Why do they get obvious penalties not called when their right tackle is false starting and continuing fourth down drives when they could have lined up and kicked a field goal? They had to go for it. They end up driving down, scoring a touchdown, and putting it out of reach from the Bills.
So not only is it annoying that an obvious false start didn't get called on a 4th and freaking 5, like that was massive play in the game, it's equally as annoying on the Nakua touchdown. They credit Kupp for an excellent block, I think is what Tom Brady said. And if he means block, meaning bear hug and totally hold the guy and it doesn't get called right in front of the official, then okay, we'll call it a block, I guess. Massive hold that isn't called at all, that springs that play, because you wondered why, Brandon, and our commenter wondered why, because the NFL has to work in LA.
And it has to work for the Kansas City Chiefs, as we've seen in all of the memes. And so this puts the Chiefs up a little bit more in their division, gives them a comfortable lead. And I have to call out long live DK. DK needs to work more on his hands catches. What am I missing in this game from DK where he had a terrible drop? He had one play that kind of hit him in the hands, but the defender was like right on top of him in double coverage. And I don't understand. What was there a bad DK drop that I missed in this game?
No, not a bad drop in this game, but he was doing a lot of body catching once again. He's not wrong here. Okay. It'd be nice to see DK be a better hands catcher. It'd be nice to see JSN be able to handle a simple pitch, but at the end of the day, it all came out to a win. The defense has been just on a tear. The defensive line was phenomenal all game. Like, they made Kyler Murray's life hell. They held James Conner in check for the majority of the game. It was a defensive maestro performance. I'm just so thrilled to see this turnaround and to know now, like, we can say it with authority, like, this is real. This defense, what we're seeing now with this mix of dudes, that's the real deal.
Yeah, and a big part of that too is EJ, who we got from the Rams, and Ernest Jones finishing the day with 6 tackles, 1 pass defense. He had the interception early, and man, oh man, I am just elated the fact that Ernest Jones is helping turn this defense around, because before he got here, we had questions, and it seems like his arrival has coincided with this ability to completely turn things around. It's not just him, but I think it's a big reason why is that we don't have linebackers that are liabilities now.
Yeah, absolutely. And Tyrese Knight doing his thing. And I don't watch any of these games and go, oh man, the rookie. The rookie's just messing up here. Yeah.
He had some amazing plays in this game too. He had one on the outside where he ran down either Connor or maybe it was Kyler. But then he had one play over the middle where the dude smacked right into him, and he was just a brick wall in the middle of the defense.
Absolutely. And, corner play was good for the most part today. There was one drive where Reek had a little bit of a rough drive, but otherwise, had the nice pass breakup in the end zone. Could have had that pick late in the game if Marvin Harrison hadn't cheated. It was funny. I really enjoyed Reek having a little bit of a hissy, because he should. I mean, it was an OPI, and then the refs kind of getting together, and then the lead ref kind of talking back to him for a second, gives the guy who missed the call initially a little pat on the back. They end up throwing the flag. That was enjoyable.
I thought he gave him a full-on hug.
Well, maybe it was a full-on hug. I don't know. I was delirious because I was still coming off a high of a first half where there was an offense, there was a defense, there was a run game, there was stopping the run. We could throw the ball. Geno wasn't making mistakes like that. If they can play that brand of football, if that's repeatable, which I think defensively it surely is, offensively it's trending in that direction. I think this game offensively really is a direct build on top of, as Clinton had put it, some green shoots in the Jets game. So pretty cool.
Hey, you mentioned a lot of good things there. You did not mention Jalen Darden coming to the team and not fumbling. So
yeah,
there we go.
Cool.
The one where he did lose it, and they talked about it coming out. He was on his back for, I don't know, a good
hour,
hour and a half maybe. Yeah. And Cardinal comes along and punches it out. So yeah, where was that dude? Why did we not pick him up? I don't know, 6 weeks ago if he was on his couch.
I don't know, man. But a good game in terms of just being Brian Walters-esque. We'll take it.
Seahawks 17 saying was the last time we won, and no E had 0 catches. Yeah, I guess he did have 1 target in this game, but no catches. It's probably been a while.
And he dropped it, man. That was an absolute dot from Geno in the end zone. That was the perfect throw. I thought he had it, just couldn't quite come down with it.
Not one that you would call a drop, but it was a tough catch in the back of the end zone, but one that you generally see Tyler get to.
Yeah.
Craig Payne in chat saying Grubb was mixing it on pre-snap this week, giving the defense 1 or 2 looks before motioning someone across, keeping it complex. Love it. He had, what was it? Was it a 3rd and short pickup, a 4th and short? He had a couple nice short yardage pickups in this game too.
Who did? Ryan Grubb?
Ryan Grubb, he called plays that led to some nice pickups on, 3rd and short.
Yeah, getting the tight ends involved, Noah Fant, and doing some play action stuff. I thought that was pretty nice. I really do like the overall mixture of plays. Like, as we've been banging the table for them to run the football more, it wasn't that we wanted it to be 3 yards in a cloud of dust every single play, but we wanted it to be more dynamic in the terms of the run pass ratio. And we absolutely got that today. He nailed it on that. He fist bumps a little too hard, but other than that, it was a good game for him.
Sam Gelber coming into chat with a $12 super chat saying, I think we locked up a week 18 primetime game. it's looking that way. Another opportunity to not hear Charles Davis's voice again. Are you not a Charles Davis fan, Sam?
I'm with Sam. I don't love Charles Davis. I don't hate him though. He's no Greg Olson, right? Like where I just makes my ears bleed every time I listen to him and like run out of cotton balls trying to stuff them in my ears to stop the bleeding. But yeah, not my favorite. Honestly, one of my favorite color guys at this point, who I think is really coming into his own, is the Sanchez. I think he's been doing a good job.
Ryan 911 saying someone said this was the 400th win in franchise history. Oh, if that's the case, how did we not hear that before this game?
I don't know. I don't care. Yeah, that's a bunch of other seasons that I don't care about right now. Right now, I'm really stoked about the 8th win of the season and still being up a game in the division.
Yeah, he's no Greg Olson. Exactly. He's probably my least favorite. Davis said some things in this that made me scratch my head a little bit, but it wasn't. He's not my least favorite. We got Shane Turner Acoustic with a $2.99 super chat. Great win, go Hawks! What a complete game. I will push back on the absolutely complete game part because of the drive that Adam mentioned, where we got the ball at midfield. We had penalties that backed us up. Just maybe it was a complete game in terms of the way they were able to win, but maybe not the cleanest game that I would like to see.
There's room for improvement, man. And you think about that, and you're like, look, if they can get to, well, let's call this performance, I would say like what, 78% of what this offense could be and what it could do. They could crank that up to like 85% on the regular. Like all of a sudden, this is an extremely dangerous team. They talk about, oh, the Rams are going to be that team that nobody wants to see in the playoffs. No, it would be us.
So maybe Sam's problem, as he's saying on chat here, he did the changing of the guard 48 to 8 game with the Rams. Also does the Madden announcing and criticizes my decisions. This is AI Charles Davis that you have a problem with, Sam.
Yeah, AI CD getting all up in Samuel's ears, man.
Emma chat saying 7 straight against the Cards now. How about that? And I thought it was cool they brought up the Geno stat of him being undefeated against the Cardinals as the Seahawks starter. And it's very strange how, he had such a hard time with the Niners, and yet, but maybe it isn't that strange at all because the Cardinals just aren't good.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. But also too, the idea that you can chalk up 2 wins a year against who?
What? Who?
Which team?
I forgot who we were talking about.
Yeah, the Cards. Yeah, who? I like it.
You were trying to tell me that Gannon was a good coach, and
he is a good coach.
You were almost trying to get me on board with not hooing the entire team, but now here you go.
Yeah, we're back to hooing the entire team. I'm convinced that Jonathan Gannon is a mute in real life. I think his press conferences are AI. Because when they show him on the sidelines, he's so stoic and he's never moving his lips. I don't think he talks the whole game.
Well, let us look a little bit at some of the stats for this game for the Cardinals. We've talked a little bit about our offense. We have talked a little bit about the defense, but I wanted to get into just to see what we were able to hold the Cardinals to. Trey McBride, 7 catches, 70 yards, just an average of 10 yards per catch. So we had the bigger Connor game. Trey McBride's still leading the Cardinals in terms of catches and receptions, but 90 yards for James Conner, 18 carries. That's the more James Connery game that you would expect. But a lot of those big carries came on downs too, where they were in long yardage distances and they were handing off, and Conner was picking up big yards.
Yeah, McBride's most of his stuff was in garbage time for the most part. And then Connor, he was only at 60 yards before his last 2 carries, which hurts my heart because I had Connor under 62 yards on PNW Prop Stars, and he gets 2 garbage time carries on their last 2 drives that total up 30 yards. And that's why it looks at the way that it does statistically. The defense was much better than these stats are going to show because of all of the garbage yards they gave up on that final drive.
Oh yeah, a lot of garbage yards late in the game, and I don't think that we can. Yeah, I don't think we should bag on the defense in any way. So, Yeah, good game overall for the defense. I just mainly wanted to look at those 2 top guys. Marvin Harrison, 4 catches, 49 yards in the pass game. He was relatively ineffective, and We had what was that? The early touchdown, I think, from Wilson. But held to just 2 receptions.
And the one bet I hit on, I had him under 2.5. So sweating bullets there towards the
end. Was the only one?
Yep. The only one. Leo didn't get a sack. One of the things that I know Phil brought up throughout the Discord was in the game is Leo out there this week? Like, what's going on with Leo? And he was still being disruptive. The Cards decided that dude's not wrecking our game. And I don't know how many different replays I saw where he was getting doubled, even triple teamed, and still getting in to be like part of the tackle towards the end.
Yeah, he had some batted passes. He had he had some plays outside the pocket too. So I noticed him out there. He was still noticed. Craig Payne saying, yes, these stats are a little inflated because of the last drive, and that is true. Charlie Malmberg in chat asking, how much better is Green Bay compared to Arizona? How close could that game be? Green Bay's a good team.
They're 17 better. And you can decide the scale. It doesn't matter. But no, Green Bay is markedly better. Their defense has been pretty darn good all year. Obviously, Jordan Love not having the season that matches the last part of his season last year, but still really good. Josh Jacobs has been a fantastic pickup for them. He runs the hell out of the football. But I think this can be an extremely competitive game just because of the way the Seahawks defense is playing. And if they can shut down Jacobs, then all of a sudden, like, you're putting it all on Love, who tends to get a little Favrean and gunslingery at times, and you can turn him over, much like we did with Kyler Murray today.
They do have a lot of speed at wide receiver, and so
not a lot of hands, though.
Not a lot of hands, but it's the deep stuff you don't have to consider. You don't have to worry as much about. But if it's the short pitch and catch, yards after the catch, I think that's where you end up having to worry about them a little bit.
You betcha. But they have a tremendous opportunity coming up here against the Packers. Who do the Rams have next week?
They have a really easy schedule down the road.
Well, I know it has to work in LA, but what's their
I'll pull it up in 49ers Thursday Night Football. Okay, that one could be a little bit tough. The Niners are playing okay-ish.
Well, yeah, and I mean they got to win today and look a little more like themselves. And division games are always weird. Who has the upper hand there in the McShanahan rivalry there?
I think
McVay, right?
Does he? I'll have to go back and look because I was kind of leaning Shanahan.
Oh, that's how it was. Because Pete owned Shanahan owned McVay, and McVay owned Pete.
That's the circle of how it worked in the West.
Yeah, that was the NFC West circle there for a minute.
Gorner Slick in chat asking, what was the time of possession? The Seahawks finished the day 33 minutes to 27 minutes for the Cardinals. And considering, just how much they were up, I bet if you were to go and look at, I don't know, the time of possession after the third quarter, I bet they picked up a lot of extra minutes in the fourth for the Cardinals.
They did. It did feel like the Seahawks really dominated there, and kind of like we dominate these post-game shows, Brandon. If you guys dig these post-game shows, man, a little subscribe would be great, or just don't. Like, I dare you, don't subscribe. Try not to. Good luck with that.
Yeah, and if you've waited, 29 minutes to decide if you like the stream or not, now might be the time to go ahead and click that like button finally.
There you go.
Yes, if you want to help support the show, getintheflock.com, and we're going to be here. Adam, I don't know when we're going to do this pick show now that we're 2 weeks behind on you, but we're going to have to figure it out somehow.
What is the median, do you think, in the last 2 weeks for right picks? Like 8, maybe?
Just give you a standard 7 or 8?
No. Well, then give me a 6 because I haven't participated, and then we'll see where it goes.
No, actually, I think if you go and look, I think the last couple weeks have been heavily dominated by people getting things right. So you might actually be in good shape if we were to do the average -2. You might be at like 10 each week.
Oh, okay, well maybe so. This is my favorite comment so far today. Who looks more like a frat boy, McVay or Shanahan? From Johnson 05 here. I think this is an excellent question, Brandon. Obviously, McVay's hair gel usage really does kind of help kind of amplify things, but Shanahan kind of looks like the dude who spikes the punch bowl and doesn't tell anybody. I feel like he's McVay would be the popular frat boy, and then Shanahan's in the frat, but maybe like, seventh most popular guy, but like begs for attention by doing little mischievous things around the edges of stuff.
They're both equally fratty. It's just, McVay would be the more popular frat boy.
Yeah. Yeah. I guarantee you this, at the end of every day when they were done with all their classes, they'd bro hug it out.
We've got Em in the chat with the $5 super chat. Go Hawks. Love the post game. Big thanks to Em. Contributions today. And Carly's blaming us for not getting her picks in. Hey, just because we don't do a show, maybe it is your fault, Adam. Maybe you're to blame here.
It does feel like my fault. Well, I was hoping Amy would be here in the chat too, because I had her apology for not being able to meet up with her when I was out there on the peninsula. But 2 12-hour mill days and then a 20-hour mill day made it real tough.
Craig from Facebook saying, hey, either way, we are the ones doing the hazing. Gotta like that.
Oh, absolutely. No doubt about it. Leading the division in. So would Mike McDonald be like the sneaky outsider that's just like, causing all sorts of problems for the frat? Is that what's going on?
Oh, either that or
from the STEM program.
He's the one that is the actual leader among the group. And, they're just the minions. So, yeah, I feel like he's the one who is holding things together at the frat, making sure that, that everyone gets a heads up before the cops actually arrive.
He's the one doing everybody's homework.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that feels right. Hey, to Sam's comment here, yes, the stupid Indian burial ground, cursed, wretched field that is that stadium. No major injuries here. That was awesome.
Look at Truth Hurts, ranked 12 on the pick watch. Adam, you might be there if you hadn't flipped up these last couple weeks.
Yeah, or I wouldn't. I don't know. I've had a bad stretch of all sorts of predictions here in the last 3-4 weeks. So,
man, I am happy that our Seahawks are in first place, 8-5, ahead of the 6-7 Cardinals. Let's see. We've got the Rams have the 49ers coming up, and and we know who they're playing in the final week of the season. I feel like they have 2 easy games though, like in between, sandwiched in there, and it's gone from us having to worry about the Cardinals to us now officially having to worry about the stupid LA Rams. I feel like we control our own destiny though. But yes, after San Fran on Thursday, then they're at the Jets, then they play the Cardinals, and then it's our Seahawks.
Okay. And that first loss to the Rams that we shouldn't have lost there, I think that could loom large going into that game. I didn't realize, Nate, that that was a shot to the nards there. I thought it was like his wrist or something.
No, that's true. I'm glad that Nate brought that up because yes, It was. And our definition of terrible, when Sam said nothing terrible happened, if that's as terrible as it's going to get, then I think that Dre Jones' baguette has to be just has to take the hit.
Well, what I'm thinking, that that wretched field ended Pete Carroll's career. It ended Cam Chancellor's career. It ended Richard Sherman's Seahawks career. It ended Cliff Avrill's career. I kind of feel like getting hitting the nards is way down the list there. Not to mention the Super Bowl we don't need to talk about.
Right, exactly. So overall, pretty good. Our Seahawks, they get the win 30-18. Want to thank our members in chat once again. Carly coming in with a super chat. Ryan 911, long live the king. And a big thanks to Sam Gelber, Shane Turner Acoustic. Oh, and look, we've got NW Gambit, Northwest Gambit, a member for 14 months, also coming in and saying love getting a W over the dirty desert pheasants. And thanks also to M, who came in for the super chat. So want to run down, say thanks to everybody who came in today. Big thanks to our Seahawks getting the win 30-18 over the Cardinals. And we got to close it out strong. At least 3 or 4 down the stretch, Adam.
I think it can happen, especially watching, I think, probably the most complete victory of the season thus far. Room to grow still, but I have a lot more confidence going into that Green Bay game for sure.
And we got to get the win over the stupid Packers. I think that the Vikings, they're to me, the Eagles have jumped up in my mind. It's the Vikings that I have some questions about them, but they play everybody really, really tough. So That's going to be another tough game too. But get the win over the Packers, and then we can start talking about just how much we believe in the Vikings.
That's right. That's right. And just get one of those two against those tough NFC North opponents. And I think we're in the driver's seat to win this division, go to the playoffs, and be one and done. I mean, win the Super Bowl, however you want to put it.
Hey, winning the Super Bowl to me might just be beating the Rams in Week 18.
Oh, it has to happen. It has to happen. They should have already beaten the Rams once. We should be up 2 games in this division right now. And if it weren't for the refs bailing out the Rams against the Bills there, then we'd be up 3 games. But ifs and buts, I guess.
And I think with that,
there's only one thing left to say.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.